And I thought this is my first reaction. It was my reaction, too, and I was hoping it was the reaction of millions of people. Putting aside for a moment what was on that tape, and by the way, there will be more, folks. Do not doubt. If they've got that, they've got more, so steel yourself. That's the point. I think a whole lot of people are sick and tired of things like this determining the outcome of elections. These October surprise kinds of things. It may not have been safe to say this back in the year 2000. It might not have been safe to say it in 2004, but a lot of ground has been covered. And there is so much hypocrisy on the left when you get to the subject matter of that open mic tape, Access Hollywood, Trump running around there with Billy Bush. Who are the people expressing outrage over this? The very people who applauded and celebrated JFK, who had women trooped into the White House in droves. Bill Clinton, you go through the list of Democrats and entertainers who have made their names on the basis of infidelity and catting around and being celebrated and protected and lauded and held up as great people. Hey, that's sex. It's not their job. Hey, that's just private life. It doesn't matter to their leadership. There are serious issues facing this country. We are at a crossroads where many people think that the wrong decision by the people in November will doom this country to a generation of further decline, and it needs to be stopped. And this kind of way to derail a campaign or to win an election of a Democrat, I hope that it has people fit to be tied. And I am hoping that there is going to be a giant backlash over it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that it does not matter who the Republican Party nominates. This is what's going to happen. If they can turn Mitt Romney into a living, breathing devil, they can do it to anybody. Mitt Romney is, as I have said countless times before, one of the finest human beings, one of the finest men you will find alive today in terms of character, demeanor, manner, you name it. And what were they able to do to him? They were able to portray him as a guy who killed his dog by putting it on the roof of the station wagon, as a guy who didn't pay his taxes for 10 years, as a guy who did not care that the wives of employees of his were dying because Romney didn't care enough about health care to give these people health care. They died of cancer. If they were able to demonize Mitt Romney, and they've demonized George W. Bush, they'll be able to demonize anybody. And if this is the kind of way they go to win elections, they're never going to stop winning elections. If this is all it takes, and I think a number of people have become outraged by this, and I don't think there are very many, if at all, defections from Trump among his core supporters. Now, we know he needs more than that. And I'm not telling you that, and I'm not making any predictions here as to what's happening, but you go to this debate last night, and I'm telling you that the fact that after the first 20 minutes, Trump was able to sweep this aside despite that debate last night was about destroying Donald Trump's life. That debate and this whole episode was about destroying Donald Trump's future, his career, his business, his life. That debate and this whole release of that tape, and I'm not excusing what's on it, but he's not the only person to ever speak this way. He's not the only person to ever seek office. He may have said these things, but the Democrats have nominated and elected and celebrated people who do these things. And where is the outrage over it? I find it ironic that the Democrat Party wants to throw down the morality card. The Democrat Party, which is responsible for the dissolution of morality in this country. The Democrat Party, which is for all these progressive new attitudes in our culture. And now all of a sudden acting like a bunch of prudes, acting like, oh my God, I have never been this outraged. Oh, this is just beyond the pale. These are the architects of this kind of stuff. If Trump were a Democrat, they'd be covering it up and privately inviting him to parties and yucking it up. But the reason this happened, and it's going to happen again, they can't afford. Folks, this is what it looks like. I kept telling people over the weekend when people were asking my opinion on it, I said, this is what it looks like when you take on the establishment. This is exactly what it looks like. It isn't going to be pretty. It isn't going to be clean. It isn't going to be pristine. The establishment, with everything they are invested in the establishment, remaining the establishment and in power, they're just not going to sit back and trust this to your votes. They're not going to trust this to an election, to a campaign. They're not going to trust it at all. They're going to do everything they can to destroy whoever it is that wants to take control from them. And in the process, they're going to destroy that person so as to send a message to the next guy, don't even think about it. Don't even try. Look what we did to Donald Trump. Look what we did to whoever is the message. When this whole thing began, when it became clear that what this was going to be an effort to unseat the elites, the establishment, whatever you want to call them, you have to have a sober understanding of who they are and what it means to them. And they're not just going to throw it open to what they think is a fair election. They can't control a fair election. I think that given the circumstances in which this campaign is taking place and the various stages of challenges facing this country, this kind of throwdown, this kind of October surprise, I have a feeling, while I'm sure it depressed a number of you. Oh, no, now to go. There we go again. After that, I am confident a whole slew of you got livid and angry and fed up that this is what always happens. And none of this has anything to do with the issues on which you have chosen to support Trump.